For the past few years, I've been taking a medicine called Iboga in psychedelic ceremonies. And I was really drawn to it because I would hear from my teacher, who I sit with pretty often, that it's such a powerful, potent medicine that people were getting off methamphetamine and healing their opioid addictions within a weekend. And hearing stories of him saying that he saw someone stand up from being paralyzed from the waist down. And I happened to meet someone a few years ago who was deeply in an addiction with meth and is now a few years after with his work in a much better place and thriving and doing amazing work in the community. So I was always intrigued with this word, and I was talking to my teacher. He's like, yeah, this is about addictions. And I was interested in doing it, and I thought to myself, I don't have any addictions. Like, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke weed, I don't do any pharmaceuticals, or I don't do any hard drugs. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll come and try it out. And before I get into my actual story, for people that don't know, Iboga is an African root. It's the root of a tree that you ingest, and it's served by originally from a tribe called the Bwiti tribe. And there's two places that it grows. There's one place in Gabon in Africa, and I can't remember the other place, but it takes 7 years for this substance to grow. And it's used in the Bwiti tribe as like kind of like a rites of passage. And this psychedelic is a 36-hour experience. And that's why some people are so kind of like, ooh, that sounds pretty intense. And I would say it's nothing like ayahuasca. It's nothing like mushrooms or LSD. The challenging part of it is really just the length. It's like a full commitment of doing a 36-hour experience. And there's 3 stages. The first stage is kind of like the paralysis stage, where you kind of are just glued to your bed and you're having these like really weird experiences, and the medicine's working on your body and on your brain. And I won't go too much into it of what it actually does. And then the second stage is the next 12 hours, where you kind of come out of it and you're able to kind of like walk again, and you're having these very deep, it feels like you're kind of cracked open, and you're having these deep realizations and deep emotional processes, just like kind of like any psychedelic. And the third stage is you basically have the deepest reset on your physical body, on your brain, on your nervous system. And people say they have like the most deepest restorative sleep of their lives. So fast forward to my first experience, I come in, and around the time I was exploring polyamory at that point in my life. And I remember I was going through my experience. I'm in the first stage, and I'm having all these realizations, some cool things, and I get to this part where the medicine was like very clear on the message. And the message was, he goes, Justin, you have an addiction. I was like, what? It's like, I don't have any addiction. And he goes, Justin, you have an addiction to women. And I was like, what? And it started like playing out all the memories in the past decade, how I was a player when I was in my early 20s, and how that shifted into polyamory, so I can just always be surrounded by women and getting their energy and getting their validation and getting their feminine energy, and I just had to have it around me. And the medicine was just very clear. It's like, there's a reason for that. It's because you have such a deep wound with your mom. Your mom wasn't there emotionally for you, and just was very checked out, which I'm not blaming her. She had a very stressful upbringing in raising us. And since you have this wound, you've been seeking love from women unconsciously through being a player. And when you stopped being a player, that wound was still alive and transformed into polyamory. And essentially the medicine was like, you have some deep pain and deep sadness, and you're using women to kind of put a band-aid over your wound. And I just remember just like feeling so much shame and guilt in that moment about like, man, I just been just like using women for my own pain. And I was just feeling so much shame of all the women that I hurt, and so much shame around just my wound. I remember this very specific moment with my teacher. He came over to me and I was just like, I just feel like I got shattered into a million pieces. And I just have so much trust in my teacher. And he came out to me and he goes, Justin, how are you doing? Like, with a big smile. And I go, and I grab him by the shirt like this, and I pull him super close, and I broke down, and you can hear my voice crack, and I go, I need to be a better man. And I just remember him going, ooh, and he like felt that very, very deeply with me. And it showed me another thing. I was dating 3 women at the time, and it was like, Justin, I felt my soul talking to me through the medicine, and it told me, it goes, Justin, you are monogamous. Your soul is monogamous. You thrive off monogamy. You need safety. You need one partner, and you're falling in love with one of your partners. So you need to go back, confess your love to this woman, and ask her to go monogamous with me. But first, you must tell her your addiction and your wound. And I was just like, oh no, there's no way in hell this woman's gonna stay with me knowing that I have an addiction to women and validation and all this. And it was such a deep container. And I remember going home that weekend just so scared that she wasn't gonna say yes. And sure enough, she told me, like, yeah, like, I'm realizing that polyamory isn't for me, and that I want to do monogamy with you. And I was just like taken back, even after I expressed my shadow around being addicted to women. And she appreciated the honesty and was willing to be with that. And I would say this is probably one of the biggest blessings in my healing journey, because all the validation that I was searching for externally over the past couple years, I would slowly start to bring that container more into myself, finding more self-love for myself. And after that relationship had ended, it was very clear that I needed to go on a feminine cleanse. And this was part of the integration, which was 6 months of no porn, adult videos, and no talking to women at all. Like, the only women you can talk to if you live with the woman, if you went to a grocery store and you're checking out at the counter. But this was a way to start to deprogram needing the energy of women. And it's been a few years since that journey, and it's been just quite a journey to pull back my energy more and more and more. And I would say that this integration has made me more of a man of integrity, more of a man with power and self-love, and it has just filled the holes in me from the deep pain of not having my mother around when I was younger emotionally. And I would say this was the biggest thing that was holding me back from really maturing as a man, and it's still an ongoing process. Yeah, that is my story with this plant medicine Iboga, and it's quite the experience. And I'm going to be sharing much more about my journeys with different psychedelics and how it has completely transformed my life. And I'm forever grateful to this work, and for anybody that is on this path with plant medicine, or even on the healing journey and is looking to explore different modalities. I hope this really started to maybe share a different perspective around plant medicine, or maybe give you some more reassurance that some of this stuff is life-changing, and there's a reason why people are starting to get drawn to this work more and more. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed the video.